Welcome to Shadow Realm Mysteries, where dark secrets, chilling tales, and unexplained phenomena are unveiled. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself, because the truth always lurks in the shadows. Tonight we step into a haunting story, The Cursed Hospital, a doctor's nightmare, a forgotten mystery, whispers from the darkness, and a place where no one leaves the same. Are you ready? For over 20 years, Dr. Michael Carter had worked in hospitals, but nothing compared to Blackwood Asylum. The place had been abandoned for decades until the city reopened it as St. Augustine Memorial Hospital to handle overflow patients. From the moment he walked in, something felt wrong. But he didn't know that once you entered Blackwood's halls, you never truly left. Michael's first shift at St. Augustine was eerily quiet. The hospital had dim fluorescent lights, long, narrow hallways, and an old elevator that groaned with every use. His colleagues avoided the East Wing, saying it was under renovation. But that night, as Michael made his rounds, he saw a figure in a hospital gown standing at the end of the East Wing corridor. He approached, calling out, "Sir, are you lost?" No response. When he reached the spot, no one was there. The next day, Michael reviewed the patient records. Something was off. One file stood out. Name Thomas Grayson. Age 42, room 306. Admitted October 5th, 1952. Michael frowned. The year had to be a typo, 1952. He checked the system. No digital record of Thomas Grayson existed. But when he walked into room 306, the hospital bed was occupied. A frail-looking man with sunken eyes looked up at him. "You shouldn't be here," the man whispered. Michael stepped closer. "Who are you?" The man's face contorted in pain as he rasped, "They never let me leave." Then, before Michael's eyes, the man vanished into thin air. Determined to uncover the truth, Michael did some digging. He found an old newspaper article from 1953. Blackwood Asylum shut down after 36 patients found dead in mysterious fire. The article listed the names of the deceased. At the top was Thomas Grayson. Michael's blood ran cold. The man he saw last night had been dead for over 60 years. That's when he heard it, a faint scream echoing from the East Wing. Michael followed the sound, his pulse racing. He reached a door marked restricted area. As he touched the handle, the door unlocked on its own. Inside was a long-forgotten ward. Rusty hospital beds, broken wheelchairs, and blood-stained walls filled the space. Old patient files were scattered everywhere, all labelled "Experiment Failed." Michael shivered. He flipped open one file. Patient Thomas Grayson. Procedure: subject was part of an experimental psychiatric treatment. Multiple fatalities recorded. Facility was shut down immediately. A metallic clank echoed behind him. The door had locked itself. And then footsteps. Shadows moved in the darkness. Figures in hospital gowns emerged, their faces twisted in agony. Michael stumbled back, his breath ragged. A nurse with hollow eyes reached out, whispering, "Help us." Then a voice, deep, guttural, filled with rage. "You are not supposed to be here." The shadows lunged at him. Michael ran. He banged on the door. It wouldn't open. The figures closed in. Just as hands grabbed at his throat, the door flew open. Michael fell backward into the hallway. The lights flickered violently before shutting off completely. When they came back on, the ward was empty. He ran to the security office. The guards stared at him blankly when he demanded they check the cameras. But when they pulled up the footage, he wasn't in it. All they saw was the door opening and closing on its own. Michael took a leave of absence, but before he left, he received an anonymous envelope in his locker. Inside was an old photograph of the Blackwood Asylum staff from 1952. His eyes widened as he scanned the faces. At the end of the row, barely visible, stood a doctor who looked exactly like him. A note was scribbled on the back. "You were never meant to leave." Despite his terror, Michael couldn't let it go. He started experiencing terrifying dreams, visions of patients screaming, doctors in bloodied coats, and an ominous voice calling his name. One night, he woke up and found himself standing in front of St. Augustine, despite never remembering how he got there. The doors slowly creaked open. Something inside was waiting for him. Michael entered the hospital, knowing he couldn't resist its pull anymore. The moment he crossed the threshold, time seemed to warp around him. The hospital was alive, bustling with doctors and nurses from the 1950s. A nurse smiled at him. "Dr. Carter, the patients are waiting." Michael tried to turn back, but the entrance was gone. A cold realization washed over him. He was never supposed to leave because he had always been a part of Blackwood. Days later, a new doctor, Dr. Emily Graves, joined St. Augustine. On her first night, she saw a man in a doctor's coat wandering the east wing. She called out, "Sir, are you lost?" The figure turned to face her. It was Dr. Michael Carter. And then he vanished. Would you ever work the night shift in a haunted hospital? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more terrifying true ghost stories.